Michael Lee, and as the culmination of my honors experience, I decided to write a jazz composition in 4 movements for a jazz combo. My honors project is titled Effervescence in the Jazz Combo, and it's, I like to think that it has some sort of content, and it's not just me trying to be pretentious and trying to use big words. Effervescence is actually, this idea of effervescence arising in a small group of people with a common goal and a common mindset was actually thought up by a sociologist named Emile Durkheim, and he uses it to describe the origins of religion. I think that the same sort of effervescence that he would term that comes from religious ceremonies or religious rituals like communion or whatever, I argue that it also happens in a small group of musicians that come together with a common goal and come to do the same thing. In this class called Christianity, actually, we learned about all these mystics who had supposedly a divine connection of some sort. And I thought the blind mystic was quite fitting because this is really, what I want to feel about this composition is that there was this music sort of in the ether, and by really being sensitive to it, I've sort of been a mystic in a sense, in that I've drawn this music from the heavens or whatever, and I've put it on paper and I've let these guys play it.
It was something we had to learn. It wasn't inside us yet. It was outside of us. The music was on the paper, you know? The music was in your head. So before it became spiritual, it had to be in ourselves, you know? So the paper was the vehicle it came from your head to our head. And once it entered our head, that's when the spiritual side of it come in, you know? Because when you're learning, you're worrying about, am I playing the right notes? Is this what he wants, you know? But once we have the general mutual understanding that what we're doing is right, then we can just really let go, and then we can really feel it inside of ourselves that it's coming out the right way.
If anything, that should build, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you're holding back a little bit, but no, it's gotta be. I think what was really interesting is that during the first rehearsal, or during the first few rehearsals, I was not a good person at running rehearsals, and the rehearsals felt sort of stilted or just not natural. All right, yeah. I want it to be epic. You should give us the most awesome fill ever, and just go 1, right? Instead of us just coming in. Right. I'm trying to promote this idea of music as a spiritual experience, because it has to be a coherent experience even in rehearsal. If there's a time where we feel like we kind of lose that groove or that feeling, or that it ceases to become an experience, or it ceases to have meaning or spiritual content in that moment. And in playing with them, I really feel like you get an idea of what they're trying to say musically, and I try to just go along with that.
I had close to no background in just sitting down and playing something that wasn't written out for me. So that was just the biggest thing. It's just like trying to actually listen and think and try and create something that sounded good, just spontaneously.
It's really not something you can just look at and play. I think to be musical, you have to feel it.
Right.
Always hold you back. So I think that's the one thing I really needed to focus on, was trying to lose that fear, trying to lose that anxiety, so I could just play to my fullest.
You can feel it, but when you really feel it, you know it's not. You don't feel it here. You know, you feel it inside yourself.
When I was first writing the composition, I really had to focus and try to make myself open to kind of the musical impulses that were inside me. And I tried not to intellectualize it too much. I really tried to write something that felt natural and was in accordance with the, you know, with myself. I had to feel genuine. And that was really hard for me at first because jazz as a language is very daunting. But I feel like the composition I came out with is really reflective of me. And so I suppose I'm the blind mystic. My eyes are nearly bad enough to qualify me as blind. I think I will regard the project as successful if we go up in front of the audience and, you know, at least some members of the audience really are struck by what we're playing, and not just the intellectual sense, or, you know, it's not a problem of comprehension or understanding. I really hope that, you know, if granted that these audience members are sensitive enough, that they really could be affected by my piece. Of course, that's presuming a lot, including our ability to play the piece or whether the piece is good enough in the first place. But I really suspect that there may be something there, and I hope the audience really feels it.